Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome back once again to the world of EnglishExams.com. In this video, we are going to cover one of the very important letter types that you can see in the Ielts General Writing Task 1, and that is a formal letter. Though this is very common, there are quite a few doubts in the minds of the candidates as to what structure to follow, how to write, what to avoid writing, and how should we represent the ideas, and what can actually take you to a higher score of 7 or 8 or something like that in the IELTS exam. So today we are going to discuss all these issues in great detail along with a sample question which I'll take from the past papers of Cambridge, and I'm going to explain you sentence by sentence as to how to structure a good IELTS formal letter. So what are we waiting for? Let's get the video started. Okay, as you can see, here is a clear representation of the two tasks which have to be completed by you in the general training test. The task 1 is a letter, and there are three different types of letter: a formal letter, informal letter, and a semi-formal letter. And 20 minutes will be given to you to complete this letter. However, the timing is as per your choice. So you can adjust the time as per what you feel, and if you feel that you have to write uh, a letter maybe for half an hour or so, you can go ahead and do that. Then the second task in the exam is an essay. It is based on a topic which is given to you and the question prompt. So you have various types of essays. The videos of all the different types of essays are available on our YouTube channel, World of English Exams. And we are now going to start how to write the formal letter. And this video is going to be very, very interesting, because you'll not only get to know the structure, but you'll also get to understand what are some of the important phrases which you can use while writing a letter. So do stay tuned and check the video till the end if you wish to know the complete information about how to write a formal letter. Now, we will start the discussion by understanding what actually a formal letter is. As the name suggests, it's something to do with a formal or an official situation. So these are letters which are written in a formal style for official communication. The second point which I have mentioned here is very, very important. It is written to unknown people. Generally, when the situation is a serious one and you're writing to an unknown person, then definitely the format of the letter will be a formal one. So you have to identify whether you are writing to a known person or an unknown person, and depending on that, your style of writing should vary. And this is a clue that I often tell my students while they write a formal letter. So if they read a question and they feel that it is written to an unknown person, then definitely you should start writing the letter in a formal style. Now, given it a thought, let's move on to the next point. And as I told you, the complete letter should be addressed in a formal tone only, which means to say that there are no word contractions which are allowed. Word contractions are something like combining two different words into one by using an apostrophe. For example, I and have together can be written as I've. I and would be together called as I'd. But such word contractions are a very informal style of writing which should be avoided while you're writing a formal letter. Then the next point, how to start writing. Most of you might be having this starting problem wherein you have a lot of ideas but you can't structure them very well. You can't start writing the letter. If you are one of them, then definitely I will give you a small shortcut, that is, you do not need to write any addresses nor introduce yourself in the letter. So if you start introducing yourself, of course that is not a wrong way, but I would suggest you to start with the purpose. We don't want any lag or any time delay while expressing the point. So directly start talking about the business or the purpose why you're writing the letter, and please don't give too many details for identification. Then write at least 150 words. This goes to be the basic rule while writing any type of letter, or for that matter even for academic students. while writing a report, it is mandatory for them to write at least 150 words. If you look at this instruction carefully, there is no upper limit. There is just a lower limit. A minimum of 150 words should be written, but I would suggest you to aim for a word count in between 180 and 200. So that is an ideal word count, which can be very helpful in satisfying what is called as the word count, and make sure that it is not under length. If you observe the IELTS writing answer sheet, you will clearly see that in the column called under length, you will be marked low if at all the minimum word count is not satisfied. Now let's move on to the next point. Use a wide range of vocabulary. This is a very important point for something called a lexical resource. Lexis indicates the content which is represented in the form of good vocabulary. So the wider your range of vocabulary is, the better you score. So this is called lexical resource, and you make sure that you follow that. Of course, you don't need to aim for too many uncommon words. Maybe 5 or 6 words here and there which are relevant to the context would do the task for you. Then the last tip is use a wide range of sentence structures. There is one factor called grammatical range and accuracy, which determines to what extent you are using sentence structures. When you're talking about a very formal situation which is not pertaining to the general IELTS test, I would say that your idea should be represented in simple sentences which are easily understandable. However, when the context of the IELTS exam arises, it is an English proficiency test. So you have to prove your ability to express an idea using a range of sentences such as complex sentences, compound sentences, simple sentences, passive sentences, complex compound sentences, and all that. So if you are worried about how to learn to write a sentence, not to worry, we already have a video on that. So I will link it in the description box, and I would ask you to go and refer to that video, because I have explained the whole concept of different types of sentences with examples which are taken from authentic Cambridge papers. So it's a good source of information for you if you wish to know how to write a sentence and do some practice. So don't forget to check that link in the description box. Now, having understood the basic things which are required to write a formal letter, let's also understand a bit about the marking criteria, which are called the band descriptors. The IELTS test scores are released in the form of bands, which indicate a range of score that you achieve. So there are various bands ranging from 0 to 9. 0 indicates a non-user, or maybe you did not attempt the test, whereas 9 indicates an expert user. So from 0 to everything, it is in your hands. So you make the most of the opportunity that you get, and you might be wondering about what these band descriptors are. Let me explain about them. The band descriptors are the criteria based on which your essays and your letters would be corrected. So what are those band descriptors? The first one is called task achievement. Achieving a task means fulfilling the requirements. So you will be given a task in the form of a question prompt, and you should make sure that you analyze it, understand it, and answer it completely. This is the gist of what is called task achievement, which will be giving you 25% of the overall score. Moving on to the second factor, which is coherence and cohesion. Coherence refers to the range of ideas that you need to generate, and fortunately, the idea will already be given in the form of a question prompt in the bullet point. So you don't need to worry too much about getting an idea. All you have to worry is to write the relevant supporting details for that idea. Then cohesion means how effectively you are able to join the ideas and link the sentences together so as to get a wholesome meaning. At this point of time, let me alert you that you should not write the letter in the form of individual sentences. You can't use arrow marks to indicate that you are separating one sentence from the other. It has to be written in the form of designated paragraphs. Now, what are the various paragraphs that you have to write? We will look at it in a moment, but let me tell you that coherence is a range of ideas and supporting details, whereas cohesion refers to the way of joining the sentences and paragraphing it. Then the next band descriptor is lexical resource. As we were talking about this earlier, lexical resource refers to the range of vocabulary that you need to use, and these words should be related to the topic which is being discussed. Finally, there is a fourth band descriptor which is called grammatical range and accuracy, that refers to the range of grammatical sentences that need to be included in your letter along with accuracy. So, not just including sentences, but you should make sure that they are accurate and pointed to the topic. Now, this is the basic information that every test taker should know before he or she attempts the IELTS exam. Now, let's see what are some of the common examples for formal letters. Formal situations can be something like letter of recommendation. Let's say you are writing a letter of recommendation to somebody who is unknown, then that definitely you have to introduce yourself and you need to tell something about a particular person in a very formal style, and that says that it is a formal letter. However, there is a small glitch here, that if you are writing a letter of recommendation to somebody whom you know about, or maybe you want to seek recommendation from your previous employer, then such a letter would be called a semi formal letter. So make sure you read the question prompt in order to understand whether the style should be formal or whether you should address it in a semi-formal style for this letter. Then the next one is complaint letters. Being a consumer, being a customer, if you face any grievance or any annoyance or displeasure, then definitely you need to indicate it in the form of a letter to the manager of a store, or to somebody who is unknown to you in most cases. Then in such a case, it has to be represented in a formal style. uh, there is one small deviation here, that if you are writing a letter of complaint to your neighbor, then such a letter is called a semi formal one, because you are aware of who your neighbor would be, and of course you have to give them a name. Then to inquire about something like a service, or let's say you want to book a room at a hotel and you wish to inquire about the prices, and to let them know when you will be arriving and when you will be leaving, such a letter would be in a formal style. Finally, applying to a job. This is definitely a clear example of a formal letter, because when you are applying to a job, you will not know who is going to read your letter, whether it is a male or a female, and you definitely will not be aware of who the person interviewing you is. So these are some of the classic examples of formal letter. Now let's go ahead and analyze the given question prompt. Okay, so this is the question prompt I have picked up to teach you the formal letter writing. Let's read the question. You recently bought a piece of equipment for your kitchen, but it did not work. So it is a faulty one. You bought an equipment, your appliance, but it did not function properly. It was dysfunctioning or malfunctioning. Then you phoned the shop, but no action was taken. So you reported the incident, but no subsequent action was taken against it. Then write a letter to the shop manager. Obviously, when you're writing to a shop manager, you wouldn't be aware of who the store manager is. Hence, the letter has to be in a formal style. And this is an example of a complaint letter. Then, as you can see, there are 3 bullet points given to you. This is a standardized way of giving it, guys. You will see 3 bullet points in every kind of letter in the IELTS general test. Now let's see what are the points that we need to discuss. And remember that describing a particular bullet point in the related tense is very important. So the tense has to be very specifically mentioned. Now let's see what the first bullet point says. Describe the problem with the equipment. Then explain what happened when you phoned the shop. So this has to be written in the past tense. Then say what you would like the manager to do. So the subsequent action which has to be in the future tense. Now the first bullet point can be written in the past tense because you already experienced an issue and it is still persisting. So you can also take it to the present. Then the second bullet point definitely has to be in the past tense because it is a bad experience, or let's say what exactly happened when you called the shop. Then the third bullet point has to be written in the future tense because it's the action which you suggest the store manager to take up in response to your complaint. Then the next point says begin your letter as follows: Dear sir or madam. Because you are addressing the letter to an unknown person, it is always recommended that you start a formal letter with dear sir or madam. This is called as a salutation which has to be followed, and followed by that you have to insert a comma. Punctuations are very important in the IELTS exam, guys, because they are an essential part of grammatical range and accuracy. So in order to score well for this band descriptor, you make sure that you have to use proper grammar along with punctuations. Now, having understood this, the context is very clear. We established that the tone should be formal and that it is a complaint letter. We have read and understood the bullet points. Now, let's look at a detailed step by step or paragraph by paragraph structure for a formal letter. So, are you ready to look at that? Come on. So this is how I would generally advise you to write a formal letter. If you remember this structure very well, then it would be very easy for you on the main exam to jot down the points and to explain that. So the first thing that you have to do is write dear sir or madam with a comma. Then you should start writing the introduction in the next line. Remember guys, it is not suggestible to leave a line after one paragraph. No, it is never a recommended practice to leave a line. Please continue writing from the next line itself. Then you will write the introduction in which you state the purpose directly. So you're not going to give any introductory details, you just start talking about the purpose why you are writing the letter. Then followed by 3 body paragraphs, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3, in which you explain about the points that are discussed in the question prompt briefly with supporting details. Make sure that you don't extend it beyond 3 or 4 sentences because it's going to be too much, and aiming for a word count more than 200 is definitely an overkill because you are simply extending it beyond a point. And the second thing is time constraint. So you know that time is strictly limited in the IELTS writing test. So make sure that you are allotting nearly 15 to 20 minutes to complete writing the letter and not beyond that, because letter writing is going to carry 33% of the weightage, whereas 66% of the weightage is given for essay writing. So I would say to keep it brief and short. Then after writing the third body paragraph, you're going to write the conclusion. This is a very important thing, guys. Never miss writing the conclusion because it's going to summarize what your views are, and it need not be too lengthy. Just a sentence or two would do that work. Then finally, signing off. This is a very important thing. Often students do not sign off the letter, which is very wrong. You have to make sure that you have to give a proper sign off. And in the conventional form of letter writing, I would see letters being signed off towards the right side. However, in the IELTS letter, I would always advise the candidates to sign off towards the left, because that is the format which is followed in the UK, and that's what is the suggested format of signing off. Everything, all the salutations should go on your left. Now, this is a brief overview about the format, and without further delay, let's follow this structure and aim at writing this complaint letter. So you have bought a piece of equipment for your kitchen, but it did not work. You phoned the shop, but no action was taken. So you are writing a complaint letter to the shop manager describing the problem and what happened when you called to the customer service or to the shop. Then let's say you are also going to highlight what you want to be done. Then the letter should begin with dear sir or madam. So this is how I would write it, dear sir or madam. Now the second paragraph which I highlighted in red is the introduction. I am writing this letter to report a faulty kitchen appliance that I purchased from your store. As you can see, I haven't altered the meaning, but I paraphrased the given question prompt in my own words without repeating the words as it is from the question. For example, instead of writing bought, I have written purchased. Then instead of writing a piece of equipment, I wrote kitchen appliance, because it's clearly stated in the prompt that you bought an equipment for your kitchen. So I have written it as a kitchen appliance, which is of course faulty. Then because it did not work, so I wrote it as faulty. So like this, if you can paraphrase and write the given prompt in your own words, then that is exactly what is my intention to tell you to do in the introduction. Then what is the first bullet point? Describe the problem with the equipment. I bought a new microwave oven with a model number. for my kitchen on the 21st of September, and the installation was done the following day. So this is the preface that I am giving about the device, which I am establishing is a microwave oven. However, when I tried to turn it on, the lights did not work. Now this is the basic problem. Then in addition, that the touchpad for setting the time is not working properly. So this is what the problem is. The lights aren't turning on, and definitely the touchpad for setting the time also is defective. As a consequence, I am unable to heat the food. So that is the primary purpose of buying a microwave, isn't it? So that function itself is not being served. Then if the purpose is not served, then definitely it is an issue of concern. So there was a crack in the microwave plate and several manufacturing flaws too. So not only that, the make and the manufacture of the oven was faulty as well. Now this is what I would go ahead and describe the problem with the equipment as. So functional defects are also there along with structural manufacturing flaws. Then what are we supposed to write in the second body paragraph? Explain what happened when you phoned the shop. So to report the problem, I called the customer service helpline. The representative assured me that one of your technicians will visit my home within 3 days. It has been a week now and I am yet to be contacted. So rather than using informal vocabulary and telling that no one has contacted me till now, this is a better phrase, and I am yet to be contacted. I am inordinately worried about this. Inordinately is nothing but extremely, to a greater degree, something like that. Definitely, it is an issue of worry when the electrical appliance which you recently bought is dysfunctional. So that's why that this is what happened, and I'm giving it as a summary of my telephonic conversation with their representatives. Then the third bullet point goes to say, explain and say what you would like the manager to do. So the oven has a 1 year warranty on the motor and replacement guarantee for any manufacturing defects. So I am telling that it is yes, and it is still under the warranty period because it is recently purchased, and that there is a replacement guarantee for any manufacturing defects. As I previously reported, it has some manufacturing flaws like the crack in the microwave plate. So for that I am asking him or her to take an action. I request you to replace this faulty appliance with a new one or refund the full amount that I have paid for the same. So there are two options that I am suggesting. The first one is to find a good replacement with a new one which is completely functional and operational. Otherwise, I want the full refund of the amount which I have paid for the same. So this is how to simply conclude the letter. I look forward to receiving your response. This is a one sentence conclusion because I have placed a complaint, I have lodged a complaint, and now I am waiting in anticipation for receiving their response from their end. Okay, then when you are writing a formal letter, the sign off should always be yours faithfully, because I am writing to an unknown person, yet I am very faithful to them. It shows that I am not lying to them in any way. So yours faithfully followed by comma, and in the next line you are supposed to write your full name. Maybe you can write your own name, or you can make up any name as I did here, Alex Smith. So but never write your first name only and leave it, because it's a formal letter and it demands you to write your full name along with a full stop to end the letter. So this is how the letter has to be written, and this is a sample complaint letter which I took it as an example to portray the formal style of writing. So as you can see, I have displayed a wide range of vocabulary which is related to the topic, with something like faulty kitchen appliance, purchase, then microwave oven, installation, following day, however, then touchpad, then crack in the microwave plate, manufacturing flaws, customer service helpline, representative, technicians, yet to be contacted, inordinately worried, 1 year warranty, replacement guarantee, manufacturing defects, then refund. Then all these are lexical resource which are related to the topic, and as you can see, all the paragraphs and ideas are well connected and organized, which gives a good score for cohesion. Then I have displayed a range of vocabulary with some simple sentences, some compound sentences and some complex sentences. So this is how a letter should be. And if you have found this useful, please follow this structure while you're practicing letter writing in a formal style. So if you like this video, please do give it a huge thumbs up and share it with all your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel World of English Exams. So till I see you with the next informative video, happy preparation guys.